The camera's on, Dicky.
It's on?
I told you that before.
Okay. Right. The FiE's mode of communication is completely foreign to us. The very way we process our thoughts are so different.
Dicky?
What? What are you interrupting me? I'm trying to relate some information here.
Yeah, okay. But it's kind of confusing. You're starting in the middle of things. Why don't you start where you left off?
Left off?
Yeah. You left off where the FiE had been visiting you at your home.
Okay, you're right. The FiE had visited me a total of 5 times.
Dicky.
What? God damn these interruptions.
Well, maybe you should redefine who the FiE are again.
The FiE are what I call the extraterrestrials. Happy?
Well, I think it'll help.
All right, are you through?
It's your show. Go ahead.
This is not a show. I'm fulfilling my obligation to...
It's only a figure of speech. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. Now, what the hell was I talking about?
The FiE coming to visit you.
Right. I had 5 visitations from the FiE. Each instance was spaced by 6 days, 32 minutes, and 4 seconds. They were very precise about it. Each time they knocked, I opened the door, they filed in, sat on the couch, and we stared at each other for 74 minutes and 33 seconds. And then they'd get up and leave. Once I attempted to follow them out to their saucer, and that was a mistake. After a few steps, with me following behind them, all 3 of them stopped and turned to face me. I didn't know what would happen if I persisted in following them, but I got the sense that they were not going to allow that to happen. So, well, I was supposed to stay put in my doorway, and that was that. Each of their visits, of course, was absolutely fascinating. Sitting in the company of extraterrestrial visitors. My God. I could have watched them for days without sleep, but I do have to admit that a little conversation would have been nice. I mean, I'm guessing that they might be feeling the same way. I mean, why were they here? I would think that they might have a more elaborate reason, or a goal for their civilization's first face-to-face encounter with the human race.
That's all that happened? You and the FiE just sat around looking at each other?
No, there's more. I was just getting to that. The FiE always arrived at my door empty-handed. No notebooks, no recording devices, just their strange little gray bodies with their arms at their sides. Their 6th visit was different. After opening the door for them, I immediately noticed that the FiE standing in the middle held a shiny metallic rod. It was about 2 feet long and around 2 inches thick along its entire length except for the ends. They were bulge-shaped. I stood aside from the doorway to let them in, but they all just stood there. We stood looking at each other for a few minutes. Then the middle FiE held the rod out to me. Okay, I thought, I guess this is for me. I reached my hand out, but the FiE withdrew the rod from me. I held it out again and again, withdrew the rod as I reached for it. So this was a puzzle. I had no idea what the FiE wanted me to do. Then it came to me. I extended both hands and took the device by its bulbous ends. And as soon as my hands touched it, I felt like an explosion had split my head, my skull apart. I mean, it was the most intense and hideous pain I've ever experienced. Flashes of brilliant, multicolored lights filled my sight. I was reduced to unconsciousness. When I awoke, the FiE had gone, and the strange, painful device lay on the floor next to me. My mouth was dry, and I smelled a slight odor of ozone. I picked myself up off the floor, and without thinking much about it, what I was doing, I picked the rod up by its middle, and nothing happened. And I put the thing on my dining table and sat down to stare at it. This was a very scary item. Why had the FI given it to me? Besides eliciting intense pain, what did it do? Finally, I decided to touch it again, very carefully. I brought both my hands over its bulbous ends. The same thing happened. I woke up on the floor, and I don't know, however, something was different. I was beginning to feel like parts of my mind were being tampered with, reorganized. It was harder to come back to myself. I felt like I was coming out of a fugue.
A what?
A fugue. It means a confused state of mind.
Well, why didn't you just say that? What's the point of using words that nobody knows the meaning of?
Get a dictionary. Can I go on?
Sure.
Something definitely changed in me. And it was like as if I had just experienced a wildly vivid dream but was unable to remember anything about it. Just the feeling of having some magnificent experience remained. Over the next week, I must have tried the thing another 20 times.
Fuck. Were you getting used to it?
Not really. But it still hurt like hell every time, but each time I touched the ends of that thing, I felt like each experience added to the previous ones. It was like a huge structure was being built inside my brain with, multiple wings, hundreds of rooms inside my brain. I don't know. Only the rooms were all empty, waiting to be furnished. It got so that after each episode with the thing, I wandered around my house lost for a couple of hours. I had forgotten how to eat and drink. I couldn't even remember how to pull down my zipper when I had to pee.
Too much information, Dicky.
The FI didn't return for 3 weeks. I hardly noticed their absence. I suppose they wanted to give me some significant time to experiment with the device. My closest guess at the time was that it functioned as some kind of tuner to condition my mind, condition it to their efforts at communicating with me. When they finally came to visit me again and I opened my door to let them in, I knew things would be different. The FI's approach to communication is completely foreign to us. The very way we process our thoughts are so different.
Dicky?
What is it?
We're having a low battery problem.
What? Again? Didn't you remember to charge it?
Yeah, I just charged it yesterday. But this is an old camera, and when the batteries get too old, they start to lose their ability to hold their charge.
I know that. Damn, can we finish today?
We can try, but I'm not going to promise anything.
Well, fuck.